Today's class is drug interaction. As I have already told you about the kinetics and drug interaction are very important pivot of the pharmacology. The definition, it is the modification of the effect of one drug, the object drug, by the prior concomitant administration of another precipitant drug. Outcome of drug interaction is very numerous. We have 5 items over here. Loss of therapeutic effect, then we have toxicity, unexpected increase in the pharmacological activity, beneficial effects, that is additive or potentiating intended, or antagonism unintended. Chemical or physical interaction, that is IV incompatibility in fluid or syringe mixture. Mechanism of drug action can be categorized into 2 parts. One is the pharmacokinetics, another is the pharmacodynamics. Pharmacokinetics involves the effect of the drug on another from the point of view that includes absorption, distribution, metabolism, and excretion, that I have already told about the ADME. Pharmacodynamics are related to the pharmacological activity of the interacting drugs, that is synergism, antagonism, altered cellular transport effect on the receptor site. Now the pharmacokinetic parameters: altered GIT absorption, altered pH, altered bacterial flora, formation of the drug chelates or complexes, drug-induced mucosal damage, and altered GIT motility. Then number 1 is altered pH. The non-ionized form of a drug is more lipid soluble and more readily absorbed from GIT than the ionized form does. Now we have the example antacids. It decreases the pH, decrease the tablet dissolution of the ketoconazole. This is acidic, and then pH is decreased by H2 antagonists also. So the H2 antagonists and antacids, they have interaction with the ketoconazole, but ketoconazole could have dissolved without the these decrease in the pH. So therefore, these drugs must be separated by at least 2 hours in the time of the administration of the both. So we have to keep 2 hours before we take the antacids. So before we should take the first of all ketoconazole. So altered intestinal bacterial flora. Example is in 10% of the patients receive digoxin, 40% or more of the administered dose is metabolized by the intestinal flora. Antibiotics kill a large number of the normal flora of the intestine, increase digoxin concentration and increase its toxicity. So this we have not to give the digoxin along with the antibiotics. The complexation of the chelation, example is tetracycline interacts with the iron preparation. So tetracycline iron should not be given, or milk calcium is an absorbed complex. So that is antacid aluminum or magnesium hydroxide. It decreases the absorption of the ciprofloxacin by 85% due to the chelation. D. Drug-induced mucosal damage. Antineoplastics, that is the cyclophosphamide, vincristine, procarbazine, inhibits absorption of the several drugs. I would say that is digoxin. Altered motility, metoclopramide antiemetics. So this increases absorption of the cyclosporin due to the increase of the stomach emptying time. So it increases the toxicity of the cyclosporin. So once you give the metoclopramide, there is the increased toxicity of the cyclosporin. So displayed protein binding. It depends on the affinity of the drug to plasma protein. The most likely bound drugs is capable to displace others. The free drug is increased by the displacement by another drug with higher affinity. Phenytoin is highly bound to plasma protein 90%, talbutamide is 96%, and warfarin is 99%. So aspirin, sulfonamide, phenylbutazone, drugs that displace these agents is very important. So that these plasma protein, talbutamide, and warfarin should not be given with the aspirin, sulfonamides, and phenylbutazone, because they will unbound these talbutamide and warfarin and phenytoin. So altered metabolism. The effect of one drug on the metabolism of the other is well documented. The liver is the major site of the drug metabolism, but other organs can also do so. WBC, skin, lung, and GIT also does the same. Cytochrome 450 family is the major metabolizing enzyme in phase 1 oxidation process. Therefore, the effect of the drugs on the rate of metabolism of others can involve the following examples. Enzyme induction. A drug may induce the enzyme that is responsible for the metabolism of another drug or even itself, that is carbamazepine, antiepileptic, increases its own metabolism. That's called the auto-induction. So once you give the carbamazepine for a longer time to a same patient, it induces its own metabolism and the half-life is decreased. Phenytoin increases hepatic metabolism of theophylline, leading to decreased its level, so reduces its action and vice versa. So we have phenytoin and this theophylline, they reduce their plasma concentration. So theophylline, for theophylline we have to give the more phenytoin, or phenytoin we have to give the more theophylline in order to achieve the therapeutic range. Enzyme induction involves protein synthesis, therefore it needs time up to 3 weeks to reach a maximum effect. So it needs 3 weeks to reach its maximum effect. Suppose you give the carbamazepine for a longer time, so it needs 3 weeks in order to achieve the steady state. Same is the case with the phenytoin also and phenytoin also. So enzyme inhibition. It is the decrease of the rate of metabolism of a drug by another one. This will lead to the increase of the concentration of the target drug and leading to the increase of its toxicity. Inhibition of the enzyme may be due to the competition on its binding sites. So the onset of action is short, maybe within 24 hours. So when an enzyme inducer, that is carbamazepine, is administered with an inhibitor, verapamil, the effect of the inhibitor will be predominant. So once you give the carbamazepine and it is the inducer and inhibitor, verapamil, the effect of inhibitor will be predominant at that time. So erythromycin inhibits metabolism of the estimazole and terfenadine, increase the serum concentration of the antihistamine, leading to the increase the life-threatening cardiotoxicity. So omeprazole inhibits oxidative metabolism of diazepam, so the diazepam action will be predominant and its concentration will be increased. So it inhibits the omeprazole, which is metabolized through the cytochrome 4-2C9. So it inhibits oxidative metabolism of the diazepam. Same is the case with the erythromycin. It inhibits the metabolism of the estimazole and terfenadine, so it causes the cardiotoxicity. Now we have first pass metabolism. Oral administration increases the chance for liver and GIT metabolism of the drug, leading to the loss of the part of the drug dose, it decreases its action. This is more clear when such drug is an enzyme inducer or inhibitor. Rifampicin lowers serum concentration of the verapamil level by increase its first pass also. Rifampicin induces the hepatic metabolism of verapamil. So rifampicin lowers serum concentration of verapamil once you give these two drugs, and rifampicin induces the hepatic metabolism once you give the two drugs. So rifampicin verapamil and rifampicin verapamil, it has it induces metabolism of the verapamil because rifampicin is the inducer. So renal excretion. Active tubular secretion. It occurs in the proximal tubule, a portion of the renal tubule. The drug combines with a specific protein to pass through the proximal tubules. When a drug has a competitive reactivity to the protein that is responsible for active transport of another drug, this will reduce such a drug excretion, increase its concentration and hence its toxicity. So probenecid we give decrease the tubular secretion of the methotrexate. So methotrexate level in the systemic compartment is increased. So is its toxicity. So tubular reabsorption, we have another example. Excretion and reabsorption of drugs occur in the tubules by passive diffusion, which is regulated by the concentration and lipid solubility. Ionized drugs are reabsorbed lower than non-ionized drugs. Sodium bicarbonate increases lithium clearance and decreases its action. So once you give the sodium bicarbonate with the lithium clearance is decreased. So lithium clearance is increased, so decrease its action, so decrease its level. So the therapeutic concentration is lowered. So the therapeutic concentration of lithium is 0.5 to 1.2 milliequivalent per liter. Antacids increase salicylate clearance and decreases its action. So once you give the acids, it increases salicylate clearance and decreases its action. So it is also the acidic. Pharmacodynamic interaction. Now, it means alteration of the drug action without changing in its serum concentration by pharmacokinetic parameters. So once you give the propranolol and verapamil, it is a synergistic or additive effect on the blood pressure. So synergism is 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. Actually it is 1 plus 1 is 2, but it is one is propranolol you give separately, it is one action, verapamil is separately is one action, but once you combine this is called the synergistic effect. So additive is 1 plus 1 is equal to 2, potentiation means 1 plus 0 is equal to 2. Effect of the receptor site, anti-adrenergic, anticholinergic is the example where we have to take this, I will say 1 plus 1 and potentiation 1 plus 1. So antagonism means 1 plus 1 is equal to 0 or 0.5. That is the partial antagonism or competitive antagonism. So we have to increase the concentration of the dose of the agonist. So risk factors. High risk drugs, these are the drugs that show a narrow therapeutic index, that is corticosteroids, rifampicin, oral contraceptives, quinidine, lidocaine. So these are the high risk drugs. High risk patients are also there. These are the groups of the patients that should be treated with caution due to specific health condition, that is pregnant women, malignant cases, diabetic patients, patients with liver or kidney disorders, asthmatic patients and cardiac disorder patients. Now the onset of drug interaction, it may be seconds up to weeks. For example, in the case of the enzyme induction, it needs weeks for protein synthesis, while enzyme inhibition occurs rapidly. So when the enzyme induction takes place, it takes a lot of time to reach the steady state, but with inhibition it is rapidly taken place. The onset of action of the drug may be affected by the half-lives. The drug that is cimetidine inhibits the metabolism of the theophylline. Cimetidine has a long half-life while theophylline is a short one. When cimetidine is administered to a patient, regimen for theophylline interaction takes place in the 1 day. So because of the inhibition. Prevention of drug interaction. Monitoring therapy and making adjustments is very important. This is the prevention of drug interaction. Monitoring blood levels of some drugs with narrow therapeutic index, that digoxin, anti-cancer agents, etc. Monitoring some parameters that may help to characterize the early events of the interaction or toxicity. That is, with warfarin administration, it is recommended to monitor the prothrombin time to detect any change in the drug activity. So warfarin has we don't measure the warfarin levels, but we measure the prothrombin time or INR in order to individualize the dose. Increase the interest of case report studies to report different possibilities of the drug interaction. Now DIPS, drug interaction probability scale. Scale for drug interaction helps in assessment of drug interaction induced adverse outcomes. It is series of questions relating to the potential drug-drug interaction to estimate probability score. It requires knowledge of the pharmacological properties of both the object and the precipitant drug. So management of drug interaction. Ensure that drug combination is taken previously. If it is tolerated, then no need to change the regimen. So this is the management, number 1. If the drug combination is administered first time, monitoring is important. If the interaction is serious, seek for alternative regimen. So we have to change the regimen. If the interaction is slow to moderate significance, monitor side effects through TDM. So once it is, I would say, slow to moderate significance, monitoring is side effects is very important, and we can measure the therapeutic drug monitoring where this tool is available. Management continued. So drugs in the same class have different potentials, like cimetidine versus other like ranitidine and famotidine. Cimetidine is a very, I would say, toxic drug. It is withdrawn, but we have to select that drug which satisfies the, I would say, therapeutic regime of the patient. High risk drugs must be checked for probable drug-drug interactions. Drug interaction must be predicted while prescribing well-known enzyme inhibitors and inducers. So first of all, the doctor should know if it is an inhibitor, we have to decrease the dose of the another drug through which the drug action is the concentration of that drug is inhibited and is the response. So is the inducer. So we have to have the knowledge of the drug inducers and inhibitors. Then interaction must be predicted while prescribing drugs with narrow therapeutic index like warfarin, digoxin, and theophylline. These are the drugs which have got a narrow therapeutic index, and interaction is predicted, and we have to prescribe very, very cautiously these drugs. Elderly with polypharmacy should be checked. Interactions can occur with OTC over-the-counter drugs or non-prescription drugs about which patients do not tell because they hide things. If they have taken the paracetamol, they hide, and there is an interaction in the antihypertensives. So we have to tell the reality to the physician, or physician should know about these interactions. So manage complementary and alternate medicines, dietary supplements, herbal or homeopathic medicines, as well as recreational drugs, alcohol, tobacco, etc. should be kept in mind. Now assessment, pharmacodynamic types we should know, give examples. We have to give some examples. How you manage a drug-drug interaction, the patient had tolerated it earlier, so it should be known which is the toleration is there, and about that drug interaction we should know. What do you understand by DIPS? Thank you all. Thank you very much. Thank you for listening.